What's going on, guys? It's Justin, and in this video I'm going to give you a wrestling DVD review. I know I haven't done one in a while, so I figured I would do one, and since it was the anniversary of Owen Hart's death, I figured I would do a DVD that actually talks about Owen Hart. The DVD I'm referring to is Heart and Soul, and this DVD is a 3-disc set, and inside you got artwork of Stu Hart, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, the New Hart Foundation, and the Hart Dynasty. Basically, the first disc showcases each individual Hart member, be it all the children, Helen, and Stu Hart, and goes in depth about how they were introduced to wrestling, what their roles were in wrestling, what their roles were in the family. Stu Hart starting Stampede Wrestling, Owen Hart getting into WWF as the Blue Blazer, then of course the Owen Hart character, the Nation of Domination character, and then of course his sudden death. And it also talks about the British Bulldog, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and it also showcases some people that actually came from the Hart dungeon, which were like Dynamite Kid. Brian Pillman sort of was like connected to the Hart Foundation, and then you also had like Chris Jericho, people like that, just that came up through the Hart family connection, sort of. And this movie is excellent. The first part, like I said, is a documentary showcasing all the kids. Of course, a lot of the Hart children were actually involved in the WWF. They had a storyline in a Survivor Series match against Shawn Michaels with his Knights. That was the first time I think I saw them wrestling, but I know they wrestled before in Stampede Wrestling, and they wrestled in I believe a couple of them had introduction matches in the WWF. And of course, Bret was brought into WWF in 1984 with Jim the Anvil Neidhart as the Hart Foundation, or the original Hart Foundation, with Jimmy Hart, who would eventually become their manager. And, you know, just an amazing tag team throughout the whole 1980s into the early 1990s. Of course, Bret would break onto a solo career, become Intercontinental Champion, WWF Champion, beating Ric Flair, and pretty much taking the burden of what was the backlash of the steroids and stuff like that. In the early 90s, it all fell on Bret's shoulder. So Bret had a lot on his plate in the 1990s when he was actually champion. It was interesting to see Davey Boy Smith's wife, Diana Smith, who was also showcased on disc 2, because it showcased the match between Davey Boy and Bret at SummerSlam. And of course, that was the match that Diana Smith was there involved in the match. She had sort of like a memorial behind her of British Bulldog, and I'm very surprised the British Bulldog's not in the Hall of Fame yet. I know there's supposed talk that WrestleMania might be coming to London, so are they going to put him in there? I don't know. It also, you got an inside look of, you know, Natalia, you know, of the other Davey Boy Smith's son, Harry, and of course Tyson Kidd, who was the last graduate from the dungeon. And it also showcases Bret's return to WWF and his involvement in helping the Hart Dynasty go against the X, and just how they thought the Hart Dynasty was going to carry on the Hart's name. Overall, it was a great DVD. I think it's the only DVD so far to actually have this much Owen Hart footage. It also showcases on the second and third disc, it has a lot of matches where either the British Bulldogs were going against the Hart Foundation, Owen Hart was going against Bret at WrestleMania. Like I said, the Hart family against Shawn Michaels and his Knights. You had British Bulldog versus Bret at SummerSlam. You had British Bulldog versus Owen Hart at Monday Night Raw. Just, you know, Neidhart getting involved in the King of the Ring when Owen Hart won King of the Ring, when Bret won King of the Ring. Just an excellent DVD 3-pack. If you do not own it, I definitely suggest checking it out. It's a secondary one to the Bret Hart one, which is, I think, the best there is, the best it was, and the best ever would be. But this one I find a lot better because it gets into more insight. It has a better documentary on it. And like I said, it's pretty much the only DVD out there so far that WWE has released with this much Owen Hart's footage on it. And Um, I found it was interesting too because Owen Hart's wife still has a lawsuit against the WWF or the WWE now over Owen Hart's death. That's why she wasn't directly involved in it. But I'm surprised they're actually allowing, I guess because WWE owns the footage, they're allowed to put out what they own. But I know for the longest time they weren't allowed to air anything Owen Hart wise because of what was going on. So it'll be interesting to see if Owen Hart, David Boy Smith, maybe even Brian Pillman eventually end up in the Hall of Fame. Jim Gamble, Hart, I don't know if he'll end up in the Hall of Fame by himself. It would have, I guess, been a secondary person they could have added when they put Brett in, but they didn't do that. So I'm not sure if Hart will ever end up in the Hall of Fame. But definitely, I think Davey Boy and Owen deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So that's been my review on the Heart and Solo DVD. Check it out. Comment below. One love, mad love, peace.